Thought it was a great movie.
It was pretty good. Even though it's a classic, it was my first time watching it too. Liked it. I like Arnold though.
I do as well. It was a good start to the sci-fi genre. Good start.
Yeah.
Okay, The Terminator, 1984 sci-fi film, took place in Los Angeles. A lot of our films that we've been watching in this class took place in Los Angeles, Hollywood, California area. Seems like they're always doing something interesting. And it was directed by James Cameron. He also wrote it. He's known for a lot of his films. He made Avatar. He wrote and directed Avatar, with the blue guys in 2009. And then he also directed the Titanic. And he's really good with his use of techniques, prosthetics, and special effects. Like in the first scene, you could see all the lightning coming in. And in this movie, yeah, you can really see the prosthetics that are used and blended and the effects to get really a good detail in. Our main cast members, Arnold, Linda Hamlin, and Michael. Arnold, he's known for he's the Terminator in this movie. I don't know, he seems to stay in sort of one lane. He's also was in The Predator, where he played a man named Dutch. He was a part of a team of commandos mission in Central America jungle, and they find themselves hunted by the Predator. And Linda, she played Sarah Connor in The Terminator. She's well known for playing the part Vicky Stanton in The Children of the Corn. Never watched it. It's a scary movie. I'm not into them. Not into them at all. And then we got Michael Biehn. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yes.
Okay, he plays Kyle Reese in The Terminator. And he's known for his part in 1993's Tombstone. He plays Johnny Ringo. Okay, and then we're gonna talk about the scenes in the movie. Did anyone find a scene that they had stand out to them?
I really like the scene in the nightclub. There's lots of craziness going on there. That's a really good action set piece, I think.
Oh, it is, absolutely. It kind of left me thinking, who's gonna start off firing first? Who's the good, the bad, and the dirty? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, I was watching a video on YouTube. There's a really good YouTube channel called Collective Learning. I would recommend. This guy breaks down all these films, and his video on the Terminator, he was doing that scene. He actually pointed out that there's an extra in the scene that looks just like Linda Hamilton. So so like she's up like dancing provocatively and stuff, right? So whereas Sarah Connor's kind of more conservatively dressed and stuff like that, the extra is not. So that was a fun way to maybe get some character development without saying anything necessarily. So.
Yeah, do you think the extra was her, or could it have been her stunt double, or just throwing someone in there?
Just throwing somebody in there. It looked accidental, but the extra looked just like her. Yeah, it's when Arnold's hunting her down and in there. You see the stunt, you see the extra kind of like dancing.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to go back and look for that.
I didn't notice that either.
I didn't either until I watched the video, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Okay, the first scene was caught my eye right off the bat. You know how in the Star Wars they have that line of words that come up that explain what's happening? Well, this movie also sort of has the same. It helps us, make the setting, tells us what time, where it's at. And here's the quote. The machines rose from the ashes of the nuclear fire. Their war to exterminate mankind has raged for decades, but the final battle would not be fought in the future. It would be fought here in our present tonight. And when first watching this movie, I had no clue what they were talking about. It's hard to catch what they were throwing. But then when you're at the end of the movie, and then you're like, oh, now I understand what's happening. Because my second time through, yeah, I figured it out pretty quickly. How did we feel about that scene?
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about this idea of exposition? Right, that Aaliyah is pointing out. Like, this movie gives you like 2 sentences to kind of give you the concept. Right. So, do
Well,
you want, or go ahead, Aaliyah?
But yeah, it also in that scene, it starts off with, it looks like the bottom of a tank rolling over some skulls and crushing them. That's kind of showing how machinery is over mankind, how they've taken over. And it's really dark scene too, I've noticed.
Yeah, it looks like how they've been fighting for decades. The world's destroyed now. Just ain't
Yeah,
really nothing there. Just like fight.
no buildings, just ash and decay and a bunch of skulls. Okay, and then the second scene that caught my eye was after the car scene, and Kyle was arrested, and the Terminator, he had gotten some cuts here and there and busted eye. That scene emphasized how the Terminator can't feel pain, because that was a gruesome scene. You could see he cut open his arm, showing all the mechanisms, how he was a robot, but it's all bloody and looked like it would be painful. But no screams, no pain from him, no nothing. And then he also popped out his eyeball, showing his computer eye behind it. How did we feel about that scene? Was it hard to watch?
It's pretty hard to watch.
That was pretty
But
cool,
yeah.
though.
Yeah. Reese is the same way, right? Sarah bites Reese, and he's just like, "Hey, I feel pain, but I can control it." And so Reese doesn't seem too much different than the Terminator there.
Yeah, he doesn't, but I feel like if Reese was popping out his eyeball, he'd
Yeah.
be saying something else. But during that scene, there was also some cut scenes to the police station when they were investigating Kyle, asking where he's from, how did he get here, him and the Terminator, and they just thought he was absolutely crazy. Absolutely. And I don't blame him. But I guess you could say it's kind of ironic that at the same time, like right after he gets done telling him, hey, you can't stop this guy, y'all really need me, boom, this guy comes in, they can't stop him. It's a massacre. Okay. Do you think James Cameron was trying to tell us something with this movie? Or was it just for entertainment?
I say just for entertainment.
And do you think this movie could really happen?
Not yet.
Yeah. What about
Not for a
in
while.
a good 1,000 years from now?
It's a possibility.
Yeah. Do you ever see machines just becoming smarter than us and taking us over?
Man, you got Tesla.
We do. Tesla is absolutely.
Yeah,
Dragon.
there's been all kinds of stuff recently. Like there's been there's really interesting like competitions between computers and man, and something like playing chess. Like a supercomputer recently played like the world's greatest chess player. Right, they came out to a draw. So yeah, machine intelligence is definitely something interesting. We're not too far off from having like cyborgs and things like that, like the Terminator is as well. Um, yeah, we're not 1,000 years away from that. We're probably about 10, 15 years from that.
Probably.
I think the movie said like 9 years from where we're at right now. So
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're hoping not that soon.
the movie might be on to something, Mr. Yeager.
Yeah, like pretty soon you might see cyborgs taking over stuff like blue collar jobs, things like that. Right? They already try to replace people with machines as it is. Right? But pretty soon you might see machines walking around doing these jobs and stuff. So we're not far from it. And they will walk around and look like people and act like people.
Okay, in this movie, we have a huge twist. It's kind of a complicated twist, too. Okay, well, Kyle goes back to terminate the Terminator, gets Sarah pregnant so they can have the kid, John Connor, who ends up saving the human race. So Kyle had a lot on his back. He knew what he had to do, but he kind of didn't seem in a rush, to try to get Sarah pregnant. I guess he knew what was gonna happen, but it was kind of a make or break moment, How did we feel about the twist? Did you expect it?
I thought it was kind of shocking a little bit.
Also, or how so? Why'd you think that?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Right. Yeah, earlier in the film we see her like caressing like the picture of her and things like that. So in a way it's kind of creepy, right? He's like, I came all the way back through time because I've always loved you from looking at your picture. Right.
That's kind of excessive.
Right. Their relationship through the film was super interesting, I think. Just the way that at first she thinks he's like this crazy guy, right? Then she realizes he's telling the truth. Like, I think Reese's I think Michael Bihn's performance here as Reese is definitely an underrated part of this film. Michael Bihn's a guy who was set to be like this big time actor in the 80s. And for some reason or other, he could never sort of find another big hit movie after this, like with the Terminator. Whereas Arnold Schwarzenegger's career took off, Michael Bihn's kind of didn't really go anywhere.
Mm.
Which is interesting. But without Michael Bihn's performance, right, this movie wouldn't be near the same. He puts in a really, I mean, he's an action hero in the film, but he's also very much human, and unlike the Terminator.
But that makes me think, wouldn't this, since they're going back in time, wouldn't this be on a constant time loop? Like, so he's already seen her, already had the kid, already raised him. Then it's a complicated theory, but
Right. So he will always, in all possible timelines, like go through the war and then go back in time. But let's say later on, if the war is prevented through another action, will Reese ever have existed? And so that raises that time loop question there. Leah.
does. Okay, well, that makes it a little bit more complicated than the movie first seems.
Right. That's why the movie is classified as a great sci-fi, right?
Yeah. Okay. Then we're gonna go ahead and skip to the ending. How did we feel about the ending? Was it satisfying?
Yeah, I put it was satisfying. I said it explains, the cycle that needed to happen. If Reese did not come back, then John Connor would have never been born. It explained how everything was connected, like put together. I mean, you talk about the picture that Reese had of Sarah, shows how it was taken at the end from that little Mexican boy. And then just shows like at the start how she didn't believe nothing and was kind of like not like a leader, just like kind of like a regular person. In the end, she's like ready for the future.
Yeah. But do you ever wonder how John Connor saved the human race, how he did what he done? And after watching this first movie, are you gonna watch the second one?
Mr. Yeager assigns it.
Okay. That's a good answer.
The second one's a damn good movie. Like, it's arguably better than the first.
Gonna have to be put on my movie list then.
Just to give you guys a preview, if you are interested, the second movie, they send another Terminator back to kill John this time. But this Terminator is like way more powerful than Arnold's version. Like it, and
There's
then
no way they could kill him.
yeah, but John Connor reprograms an Arnold Terminator to go back to protect John Connor. So it's like Arnold's Terminator versus like the more powerful Terminator, the whole movie.
So Arnold gets in both movies again.
Yeah. Now Arnold's a good guy this time in part 2. He kind of takes over like the Kyle Reese like role. Arguably better than the first. I don't know though. It's been years since I've seen this one. I watched Terminator 2 all the time. It's been years since I've seen this one. Like, I really appreciated this one, watching it again. But there's been a bunch of other Terminator sequels after 2. They came out with a 3. And that was kind of like they've never been able to replicate the magic again after 2. They came out with a 3. that led right up to Judgment Day when the machines took over. And then they had one that had Christian Bale in it in the Batman movies, where he played John Connor in the future. Then they had two more in the last few years after that. So the most recent one was in 2019. I think that was Terminator Salvation. So they keep trying to bring it back, but they can never kind of replicate the magic that they had with the first two. So if I would recommend you watch another one, it would just be two. I wouldn't recommend any of them after that.
Well, if they were gonna make a remake of the first Terminator, who would you have as the cast? Who would you have play Terminator?
What actor now is young enough, and big and strong and intimidating enough to do it, I suppose. Arnold's a hard act to follow.
He is. And who would you have play Sarah and Kyle as well?
What do you guys think of this one? This is a fun question. Throw us some names. Who would be a good Terminator?
I feel like it's so hard to see anyone else as the Terminator.
Right.
It's got to be a big buff dude though.
What about The Rock?
Yeah, The Rock could. Rock's gonna be alive forever though.
Yeah.
He don't age.
That's what shaving your head does for a guy, right? You shave your head and you look the same for like 30 years.
I swear he's getting younger.
Yeah. Vin Diesel might make a good one. Like I could kind of see him giving those sort of like robotic lines, like "I'll be back." Right. My favorite Terminator line is "Fuck you, asshole." That's the best one. All right. That's my Arnold impression. I don't know how you guys would rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, but there you go.
10, solid 10.
Yeah, solid 10.
Oh no, I was gonna go with the 9.5, but okay. And how did we feel about Kyle and Sarah's short love story? Do you think it would have made the movie better if Kyle would have, survived to get through?
I think it would have been. Go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
I say no because I want the action. I'm a guy. I like the action. I don't want the romantic side of the story. But it always makes the movie better. It builds up climax and the plot and everything. But I wanted more Arnold instead of a love story.
Me too.
Well, the rest of y'all think. Yeah, that's an interesting scene. It's interesting that they actually show the love scene and stuff too, right? I don't think we've encountered that well, yeah, we've had sexual type scenes in this class so far. That's probably the most explicit one we've had.
It is.
I think it's important because it shows that Reese is different, right, than the Terminator, right? Which is something I've kind of alluded to already a little bit. Right? That's what makes him different than the Terminator. The fact that he is human and has human feelings. It kind of takes Sarah's character to kind of get that human side out of him a little bit because he's been trained to be nothing but a soldier his whole life. So. I think without the love scene, we wouldn't see that, right? We would just see Reese as an action hero without the human side. He wouldn't be much different than a Terminator. Any thoughts on that? What I just said there? You guys got to help us out today. We don't have our normal person here dominating the conversation. So
Yeah, it showed a soft side. I agree with you.
yeah.
Without that, you wouldn't have probably liked Reese as much.
Yeah, you kind of see that too, because the scene right before the love scene, like Sarah thinks he's like coming back to bring her Pizza Hut or something, right? But no, he's like bringing back like nitroglycerin and stuff to make bombs. Right? She's like, "Come on, man! You could have brought me some food."
Nope, bombs.
I don't know. In the
He is
end,
a
the
robot.
bombs were a lot helpful, more than people.
Pizza Hut makes a good pizza though.
I don't know.
The ingredients are probably made of the same materials, you know.
Same material.
I don't know if Pizza Hut back in the 80s and 90s was the bomb. I mean, it kind of fell off a little bit in the 2000s.
It did.
Yep. I'm more of a Giovanni's guy now.
Yeah, me too. And
I used to
speaking
like,
of,
or go ahead.
okay, well, speaking of bombs and special effects for an older movie, do you feel like the special effects were all right or not quite up to par?
Oh my God, Aaliyah, did you see the lightning?
I did see the lightning.
I thought that was so real. No, that was pretty bad. You could tell it was an old movie.
Yeah, and I was thinking the prosthetics.
Yeah.
When it's showing that scene where he's sort of pulling out his eyeball, you can really tell that that's not his skin. They kind of threw it on there. It looked like a piece of bologna.
I think that was the first scene that shows that. But there's multiple scenes, I think, like the prosthetic look, where it looks so fake. I think that was the first.
And then yeah, he has to throw on his sunglasses. That kind of helps.
Yeah, I was watching it again, and I think it's impressive. Like they pulled off all this without computers and CGI and all that. Right. So Terminator 2 didn't have that problem because by then they had better CGI and whatnot. I think they made it in 92, and this one was made in 84. It does look kind of cheesy at the end when the Terminator is just a machine, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But that kind of thing's never bothered me much. Like, I think it's charming in a way.
Oh no, well, when the Terminator's running after Sarah, it's kind of, yeah, it looked like a little wind-up robot they had zoomed in on.
Yeah, that look for the robot's almost as iconic as Arnold and himself, right? I'm sure all of you have seen that robot before in something. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes today, like when you watch movies, you can kind of see that they overdo the CGI and special effects and stuff. Right? So that's kind of a catch-22. How much is a movie overdoing it now? Right?
Just trying to get that award, I guess.
Right? Like movies like Transformers or right? Other sorts of movies like that. So good, Aaliyah. Good work here. Introduced us to the film pretty well. I do want to go back to her question about who would you cast now, right? We answered the question about the Terminator, maybe. Who would you guys put in the other two roles? Who's a good actress that would be tough like Linda Hamilton was with Sarah? Tough, but human at the same time, right? Like Sarah was.
Personally, I'd put Scarlett Johansson in there. I know William would have too.
Oh yeah.
Scarlett Johansson. Oh, oh man, I didn't hear. I was looking up actresses. My bad.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, she would be good. I would think.
What have you found, Kyle?
What did you say? I can hear you.
What have you found?
Oh, that was really my main pick. Was her? Maybe Jennifer Lawrence.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't know, Jennifer. She may not look like she ages, but she's aging.
Yeah, she did pretty good in the X-Men movies as Mystique.
She's pretty tough in the Hunger Games too, so.
Yeah.
Okay, and then who would we have play Kyle Reese?
Liam Hemsworth.
Who?
Liam Hemsworth. The guy that plays Thor. Cut his hair off.
Oh, that's Chris. That's Chris. Is it Chris?
Oh,
Leaves.
yeah, Chris. My bad.
Well, Chris, he's a pretty strong guy. We'd have to get someone extra tough to be Arnold then. I don't know. For Arnold, what about Brock Lesnar?
That would
Yeah.
be real good.
I'd agree
That would
with that.
be real good. And then you could do Chris. Because Brock's big.
I don't know. Brock Lesnar's a tough guy, but he's kind of got a sissy voice.
That's true.
That's why when he's wrestling, he always has Paul Heyman on the mic for him, right?
You could do what's his name? Dave Bautista, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like that. That'd be cool.
Because I feel like he's not like, I don't know how to explain it. Like when I think of like The Rock playing somebody like that, all I can think about is like him in what's that new movie that just came out, like Jungle Cruise. Like I feel like he's more towards like comedy almost. So I feel like it'd be kind of hard, even though he's like super buff and stuff, it'd be kind of hard to take him serious. But I feel like with somebody like Dave Bautista from Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel like it'd be a little more, the intimidation would be more there, I think.
That's a good pick.
Or you could pick Michael B. Jordan. It'd be the black Terminator. We're switching it up. Instead of a white Terminator, it'd be black.
Right? Yeah, you see movies doing this a lot now, right? Just increasing the diversity.
Do you think he looks strong enough for that part?
Yeah, I feel like the glasses on with Michael B. Jordan. I mean, he's already the Black Panther. He's got to be. They just need to pick a shorter character to play Reese. I think Michael B. Jordan's a little short.
I like Michael B. Jordan in the Creed movies.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, originally they were going to cast this movie different. They were going to put Arnold as Kyle Reese and Michael Biehn as Terminator. It's a good thing they didn't.
Yeah, it's a real good thing they did.
Where's Sylvester Stallone as the Terminator back in the day?
Yeah, Arnold and Stallone were the big action stars in the 80s and 90s, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, the Terminator with the Rock with Stallone voice. Adrian. My Stallone voice isn't as good as my Arnold voice. I apologize for that.
No, that was an 8. Arnold was a 10.
So good. Some other things to point out about the film. See what you guys think. The costume, I think the costumes in this film are really interesting. Let's see. You can probably stop your share now, Aaliyah, if you just want to.
There we go.
Here, it's good. Yeah, the costumes in the film are pretty interesting. Like we have Arnold. Arnold dresses in this film like for a machine. The way that he dresses in the film is interesting. Like he dresses up and that's like punk, or he either dresses up in like this punk rock look, or like he's dressed up in like the leather jacket, riding the motorcycle, stuff like that, right? So to be a machine in the movie who's trying to blend in with everybody else, like he kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, right? But would his appearance be as cool, right, if he didn't have the shades and the leather jacket and all that, right? So it's an interesting choice of the way that the Terminators even appears in the movie. But he definitely stands out. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Why do you think they dressed him that way?
Yeah, to make them look cooler for sure. Because like the Terminator had like a shirt with a bunch of like flowers on it. That would have been
Yeah.
terrible. But the
Wow.
robot was just thinking though, like, I need clothes. And then the movie where he's like the Terminator, they just threw him like the punk rock dude right there. And the next dude would be a biker dude.
Yeah, I appreciated your impression there too, Keegan. That was good.
Yeah.
That
No,
was
not as good as yours, Mr. Gill. I need to take some classes.
good.
It's going to take me a while to catch up to that.
Yeah, there's some comedy built into the scene where he goes up to the punk rockers naked. Right? That I think that's kind of a funny scene. There's a suggestion there, like one of the punk rockers like checks Arnold's out, right? You can kind of see that, right? So that there's a little suggestion in there. Yeah, I mean, it's punk clothing has oftentimes been I mean, the punk rock movement's associated with stuff like rebellion. Right? I don't know if any of you guys are big punk rock people in here. Like it's associated with rebelling against against the old folks and things like that. So it's interesting that a machine who's programmed to do, who's programmed just for one purpose, kind of takes this like rebellious streak. Like even his, like when he tells the guy in the motel, when he says, "Fuck you, asshole." even that, like it shows that he comes up with like multiple dialogue options that he can pick from, but he picks that. So
Yeah. It has like go away, shut up,
Yeah.
leave, and then it's F you asshole.
yeah. Yeah, for some reason or other, this machine kind of leans towards that. I don't like maybe it's nothing, but maybe it was just the first outfit he encountered, as Keegan said. I don't know though. I think it's purposeful. There's also some suggestions here about like a police state and things like that. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when they're in the future, when you see the Terminators, like almost like cars that fly, right? They have like police lights on them. I don't know if you guys noticed that. But like there's constant like police lights and things like that in the film. So there's a suggestion like maybe this is a future that takes away your freedoms, right? That it is a police state ruled by these machines. Yeah, go back and look. Yeah, go back and look. That like in the scene where it shows the future, right? And they have blue police lights.
It's like the lasers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, then Kyle gets imprisoned by the police, right? After he's imprisoned in the future by the machines. So that's another little bit of irony there. In the last few minutes, I want to go back to the question Aaliyah raised about possible future. We kind of brought up the idea of androids a minute ago, but yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, we're getting to this point where that's going to become a thing soon. But in a way, I cut the movie Blade Runner, because Blade Runner is all about this idea. Right? But it'll come to the point where they emulate humans so much, you will have to kind of ask the question: are they human? Right? So it's gonna be weird stuff over the next couple of decades, guys. I mean, once these things come out, like there's going to be like a big trade in them, even for like sex stuff, right? I mean, that's probably going to happen. They're going to build these machines, and people are going to want to use them for that purpose. So we're going to have lots of questions in the future about, are those things human? Should we treat them as humans? Should we treat them as machines? Right? We're gonna have some big questions to answer in the next 20 years or so. Right? But like I said, it's going to bring up problems with jobs, because you're going to see these things taking over jobs. So as if things aren't bad enough already, right? I don't know. Have you guys ever given this issue much thought? Or seen it in other media before?
Have you seen like the robot? It came out a while ago, and her name was like Sophia, and she was like really realistic. It's
Which
like
movie?
it wasn't a movie. It was just like an actual thing. It was like a robot, and they named her like Sophia.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
she said she wanted to have kids and stuff. Like that was pretty.
Yeah, she looks almost human, right? The only thing that looked different was her eyes.
Yeah, they move kind of like robotically, but other than that, her hair and stuff looks really real. I don't think it'll be too far off if that's already happening.
Yeah, like from what I've read about it, we're not that far off, 10, 15 years maybe, till the technology gets there. Any other thoughts on this one? Said the movie Blade Runner does this pretty good. There's a good PlayStation game that came out a couple of years ago too about this. Detroit Become Human was the name of it. I don't know if any of you guys ever played it. If you're gamers, that's a pretty good game. So the same way that we were asking questions about like humans being slaves in the 1800s and stuff, we're going to be doing the same thing in a few years with robots and androids. So something to think about. Guys and Logan are being quiet today. It's me, Keegan, and Aaliyah carrying it, and Kaylin carrying it today, right? What's going on with y'all today? Y'all need some coffee or something?
Yes.
Slow.
All right.
I have to add robots taking over the world in my worry list now.
Yeah.
Didn't think about it until now.
Just one more thing to be anxious about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Keegan said, Keegan brought Tesla up earlier, right? Pretty soon we're going to be riding around in cars that are automated. We're not far off from that.
They're making it affordable now. My dad's a big Elon Musk fan as well. I know all this. That's all he watches. They just went to space, I think. Elon did. If any of y'all watching that, he's making it to where like people can pay and it goes like into space and it goes back down.
Yeah, a lot of celebrities are paying for that, aren't they?
Yeah. So I mean, if he's doing all that, robots, I could see them, and they can make viruses now. COVID.
Yeah, in some cities, the self-driving cars are already a thing. Like you can go to like ride an Uber. It doesn't even have a driver in it if you're in a big city.
Well, talking about that, Elon was talking about making like these charging stations where it takes 15 minutes to charge up your car, and then you're ready to go after that. Like it's that solve the gas problem, everything. And that just leans on to everything being AI. And then we have to fight a Terminator off. And it's Arnold.
Yeah, I can see they're building these androids and stuff kind of like Terminators. I can see that being a thing.
They make them look exactly like Arnold.
I hope so.
I hope so. They all have like the option to say, F you asshole.
What do you guys think about? Are any of you guys as big of an Arnold fan as me? Like, I love the guy. I can't get enough of it. Have you guys watched a bunch of other Arnold movies?
I've watched like bodybuilding movies by him. I mean, the dudes did everything. He's a big movie star, bodybuilder, and governor. And Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the early '80s. Here's when he was when he was at his peak with bodybuilding and stuff.
Yeah, I think he's about to win the Arnold Classic, like right here.
Like
Yeah.
Predator.
Predator's a good one. I don't know which one of those I like better. I like Predator 2 as well. Danny Glover is pretty cool in it. What was somebody else say another movie?
Commando
Mando.
and Total Recall.
Oh yeah, I love Total Recall too. That's a good sci-fi movie as well. Where Arnold goes to Mars in that one.
Yeah, it was kind of, I don't know. I feel like it was like, I feel like after you watch the Terminator and then you watch Total Recall, it's kind of got more of a comedy, almost not really. It's not a comedy, but it kind of has a comedy feel to it. That makes sense. So I think when I watched it, I was like really unimpressed because I was expecting more like, I guess, more dramatic as the Terminator was, for it to be the same way, but it wasn't.
What's the movie Arnold plays with? It's like Rambo, I think. Is that a movie Arnold plays?
The Expendables. All those movies are so good.
Yeah. No, I think I'm talking about Commando.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Okay,
Commando
those are
was
those
like,
two.
it goes against like the base, basically.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
talking about
goes
Commando.
against everybody.
Yeah, of course we know him for the all-time great Christmas movie as well, right? Jingle All the Way. All right. You guys know the one I'm talking about, Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, that's where he's trying to find a toy for his kid, right?
Yeah.
That's a really silly movie.
the Turbo Man, I think is what it's called.
Also in Kindergarten Cop.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. That's where the line, "Who is your daddy and what does he do?" Yeah, the movies with Danny DeVito Jr. and twins. Right? I think we brought those up the other day. It's hilarious because Danny DeVito is like 5 foot tall and Arnold's like 7 foot tall, and they're supposed to be twins. And that's the hilarity of that movie. Here's a thought for you guys too. Like recently, in the last 10 years or so, like they've tried to bring back the Terminator movies. As I said, there's been two sequels in the last 10 years. Stallone's tried to bring back other stuff like Rambo and all that too. There's not a market for these movies anymore. Like these movies in the 80s and 90s, these action movies were big money makers. For some reason or another, like a movie that's just straight up action these days, you don't really see a lot of it now. Not there is some, like Liam Neeson has become a big action star. But why do you guys think this? Like for some reason or other, people today don't have a taste for action movies like we used to. Any thoughts on why?
Maybe they want something with a little more depth.
What'd you say, Kaylin?
And maybe they want something with a little more depth in it.
right? More depth. Not just great one-liners, right? We got superhero movies, right? That's about as close as we get. But they're not the same as these 80s and 90s action movies were.
I like the transporter films,
You like Transformers
the transporters,
or the
the
Transporter?
transporter.
Jason Statham, I think's in the
Yeah,
I haven't watched those. I need to watch those.
really?
Yeah, I haven't
Good.
seen those. And we got Fast and the Furious. That's a big action franchise now. It used to be just a racing movie. Now it's like really out there. Most recent ones have been. Like the most recent one, like they were flying a car in space. And I was like, okay. Of course, we still got James Bond, right? Probably James Bond is still a big action franchise.
Oh, yeah,
James-
that's never gonna die.
Yeah, James Bond will never die. Yeah. You said that with the impression you wish it would, Caitlin.
There's just so many.
Yeah. Yeah, the newest James Bond comes out Friday. You better bet I'm going to be there. I've seen all like 25 of them like a million times. I'm a big James Bond fan.
Who's playing the new James Bond movie? Like who's playing as the main character?
It's still Daniel Craig.
Okay.
I think it's going to be his last one though before they recast it again. So
No more 007.
yeah, they'll recast. There, somebody mentioned earlier, like I think it was you, Keegan, like recasting roles today with like different actors and stuff.
Yeah.
We might see like a African American James Bond next, or so. Like there's a big trend towards recasting the parts to make Hollywood more diverse. So we might actually see that next after Daniel Craig.
I feel like they can't match up to Daniel Craig. He's iconic.
Right? He's definitely the best one since Sean Connery, I think. So good. Yeah, so watch Terminator 2, guys. You'll be doing yourself a favor. It's a classic. Later in the class, like I said, there will be a paper where you take one of these films we watched and look at a sequel. Right? So that would be a good option for you. So next up will be Kyle next week. Kyle will do Jurassic Park next week. So let me look and see who is up after Kyle, because we're going to be going back to horror after that. So let me see. Just double check real quick. Look at the calendar.
I think it's Hannah. Oh, wait. Kaylin, maybe?
Uh-oh.
For next Thursday. Let me see. Yeah, we're going to be returning back to normal schedule starting next Thursday. Yeah, so next Thursday will be The Shining, and that will be
Yeah,
that will be Kaylin. So. So 2 presentations next week. All right, I've got a pretty good Jack Nicholson impression too, so you can ready yourself for that. Well, as I said, we'll call it a day there. So we'll see you guys next week. One last thing though, I am starting to send you guys back some discussion grades. I've been reading them all semester. I just haven't been giving grades to them. So I've been sending some grades back. For the most part, they're pretty good. A lot of you guys are just giving like your basic opinion, though, without giving up stuff, without giving evidence to back it up. So in the future, maybe think instead of like 3 or 4 sentences, maybe a paragraph, right? Just give me an example from a scene or something like that, right? To prove your points. I'm not asking for a lot here, but don't just shoot from the hip. Do give me some evidence, and that helps me prepare for class and all that good stuff. Okay. So I'll be sending some more back to you probably this weekend. But that's the biggest thing to work on for some of you. Maybe develop your answers just a little bit more. And then I will be getting your papers back to you probably next week as well. So look out for those. You guys will have a chance to redo the first papers. If they're not to your liking, you will have a chance to revise them to get a better grade. So I will give you that chance. So let's say you get a C the first time or something, you can work it up if you follow my suggestions. So this should be a class where you improve your writing skills. Right? So I've always found it bad to give you a grade and be like, okay, here's a C. Here's why your paper sucks enough to get a C. Right? I've always found that to be unproductive. The way that I always do my comments when I'm grades, I try to say, here's some things you can do better. Then I expect you to go and do it. Right? So you will get your papers back next week. So you'll start getting some grades piling in here. Okay. Any other class business before we conclude?
You know how many short papers we have to do this semester for you?
I think there's just 2.
2.
Yeah.
What about like a long paper? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, we're getting ready to come up on midterm. So we will have a midterm paper coming up too. I guess we're kind of there almost, week 8. Yeah, so yeah, we're going to have a midterm and one more short paper. So the midterm, I'll go over that pretty soon. There's not a hurry on it. But yeah, we'll have 2 more papers, midterm and another short paper. Then the final paper in the class that's due at the end, what I'll ask you to do for that, to build one of your shorter papers out into a longer paper. So you'll already have like half the paper done, but you'll just make it a longer paper. That's kind of what I do for the end. So 2 more papers, and then the third one will be a longer paper based on one of your previous 3. I do that to so I don't bust your chops at the end of the year, right? So you can develop your shorter paper into a longer one.
I think we did that in English last semester. He made us do that. Like he made us search up like other people's examples and like on like how we had to explain our topic, or like one of the reasons we had to like go and search up like another reasoning and like throw that in there to make it long.
Did you have me for English, Keegan?
I think I had D'Angelo.
D'Angelo? No.
I've already did the 101 and 102. And the worst one out of all that was the Oedipus. Hated that. I don't like that at all.
You were all up on what we were talking about on Tuesday then.
Oh yeah. Was not a fan of that. I had to like watch that story like 2 or 3 times over.
Yeah, you'll have to take me for the 200 level English, Keegan. It's a good time.
Nope. I can't do it. I've had all the English I want in my life.
What degree are you going for?
I was going for allied health, but I think I'm gonna switch to nursing. So I gotta take anatomy 2 next semester, and then I get into the nursing program.
It's one of the few majors you can do. It's a surefire job these days. So
Yeah.
all right, guys. So we'll go ahead and call it there. So we'll see you guys next week for Kyle's presentation. And to see Kyle, do send me your questions a little bit, maybe on Monday. Send me your questions.
All right.
So I can post them.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. See you guys then.